Think outside the box. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everybody. It's November 9th. Welcome to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. Be sure to join us here every Wednesday. Mr. Nash, you're ready to jump in. What's up already?
I was just going to say, are you sure you got the right focus group? Are we sure we're the right focus group? Because you did a little R&D recently and came up with another focus. Yeah. So anyway, continue with our opening. Focusgroupradio.com.
Yeah, focusgroupradio.com. You can go there and find us. We've been there for 13 years. And you could also find all of our media housed, our social media and all of our streaming media at Focus Group Radio. But if you go to the .com, you'll find everything listed there, all our platforms, as well as our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned. And TFG stands for the Focus Group. No, one of our listeners, so what John is saying, one of our listeners had turned us on to the fact that there's another show out there called the Focus Group using our same font.
It was weird. I'll just say that. Tim sent me a screen grab.
What the heck was her name? She's Sarah somebody. I got to pull it up here. So she's I think I sent it to you. She's doing something with here it is. The Focus Group with Sarah Longwell, a Bulwark podcast. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and thankfully it's a limited edition, so I guess she's not on for too long. It's something to do. She goes behind the scenes of voter focus groups, but did I get that right?
Yeah, she's political. It's a political show, of course, and she looks at focus groups and then she gives their ideas. However, I don't understand, and they have a little trademark circle. Well, of course, they couldn't use anything because you and I exhausted any sort of .com, .biz, .org, .whatever. So they've
I
got
didn't even
some
bother
sort of,
checking on that. So that's yeah.
Well, the website is something like bulwark.focus group something yabba dabba do. But so I sent them a note and said
a very polite note, but it was funny. It had teeth.
Yeah. I said, I guess the Bulwark never checked the name, the Focus Group. We're now 13 years old, started on Sirius XM for 8 years, and now on multiple free platforms, plus a podcast since 2016, the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. And then, of course, I created links and put it on their website. But they've not responded.
Some intern or someone there is like, we could have a problem. Thank God we're a limited
Podcast.
podcast. That's what it is, a limited podcast.
Well, what's his name? Bill Crystal's behind it, with a K.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they don't pretend you don't know. Once again, MSNBC I think is also behind this too. And as you and I both know, when you and I were on Sirius XM Radio, some little production assistant there was listening to our show because the same music you and I would play on Saturdays would end up on Morning Joe on Mondays. And then they were starting to do puff pieces like you and I would do to fill the air. It would be the same stories. I'm thought this is just too coincidental.
So
anyway,
so there's that, and then I don't know if you caught Meet the Press on Sunday by any chance. Did you catch Meet the Press? I mean, I'm trying to avoid a lot of it.
And, that Chuck Todd is just he's not the same.
No, he's not a Tim Russert. I give him that, but I will say this: he did ask Senator Rick Scott, who is now the chair of the Senatorial Committee or whatever on re-elections. He asked him, I think it was 3 or 4 different ways. If that, was Biden, elected the whole bit. And he answered part of it, and then he would play this game of not answering the second half. And I thought to myself, I don't care what level of education you have. If you're watching that back and forth, by the 4th time he rephrased the question, you would have to come to the conclusion that he has no intention of answering it truthfully because it might upset the orange one down in Mar-a-Lago, right? It just was so insane. We almost screamed at the TV. And then I bust out laughing, and I thought, we're not going to make it to the 2050, but we might be off the planet.
My problem with Chuck Todd with those questions, and he does that with a lot of the pundits he has on, is he needs to be more direct and hold them accountable because he lets them slide. He asked that same moron from Florida, what's his name, Scott.
Yeah.
he asked him, he allowed Scott, I think 4 or 5 different times to talk about the fact that the race in Virginia was won based on the teaching of critical race theory, which we all know is not being taught in Virginia or at any school.
Correct.
So the fact that he lets that slide by and doesn't call him out on it, he should have said, senator or governor, whatever the hell you are, that is not true.
Yeah.
You can't keep saying that on the show. And if you're going to keep saying it, I'm going to take you off.
So your point is well taken, because it for me, it puts it less into news and more into entertainment. If you're not going to hold someone accountable, if we're not dealing with the same set of facts, like you just said, then am I watching a talking head show? Is it entertainment? Or anyway, didn't mean to veer off too much.
No. So he lets him slide on that, and then you're right. He asked him about Biden, and he couldn't answer the question, and it's a simple yes or no. And if you can't answer yes or no, the interview's done.
It's binary. I agree. I wonder how Tim Russert would have handled it if he were alive today during this particular climate. It might have been, because he was always so, he was very gracious, but you knew, and he didn't go after you, but he did want an answer to a question. And I just don't know how it would have been had he, or who was the previous host before Chuck Todd? I remember for a while there's
David Gregory.
David Gregory. Would he have been a little more, dog with a bone kind of thing? Give me the answer.
I don't know.
Hard
I know
to
Joe
say.
Scarborough. They kicked Trump off the air.
Yeah.
He didn't answer the question. They said, "All right, you're done.
Yeah.
Shut it off. Shut off the mic. You're done. If you can't be honest and can't answer the question, you're done." And that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Don't come on the air and lie, and don't come on the air and tell stories. If you can't tell the truth, then you're done. Boom, click. That's it. Next. Hello to our friends in Palm Springs. I know they just had Pride out there last weekend.
I know, Radio 111. And
warm out there.
What was it probably like? Well, for them, it might have been a break from the searing temperatures of the summer. Like maybe it was 90 or 85, which, sounds pretty good right about now, especially if it's dry heat, right?
Right. And so in today's show, we have our Caught My Eye segment, of course, and then we'll do we have a couple of recommendations from our friends at Deep Discount, who is having a site-wide sale. And then we have a shop talk and, of course, our business birthday after a quick break. So, Mr. Nash, what had caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
All right. We all know the term ghosting. Actually, we only learned it thanks to all the people that do it. So like, let's say you make a friend, you go on a date, whatever, and you never hear back from them, been ghosted. Well, apparently this goes on in the hiring game too. And I found this article a while ago on NPR, and I kind of chuckled at it because I've heard this story up and down the line. Basically, it's a flip though. There's a strange new trend that's enraging hiring managers, and it turns out that in today's topsy-turvy job market, a strange new thing is happening. Employers are increasingly grumbling about job seekers ghosting them. These are job candidates that just don't show up for their scheduled interviews. They don't show up for a Zoom call. And in some cases, these are people who they go through the process, they get hired, then they never bother showing up.
Are you kidding me?
It's a problem. And so this was reported on a number of outlets, and including NPR. And so I'm going to give you two perspectives. The first one's from a hiring manager. I went from working at a nonprofit to working for a vendor. Part of my job is hiring, but I'm having a much harder time hiring now than I did at the nonprofit. The pay and benefits are better. We start people at more than the max rate at the nonprofit. Hours are more consistent, and we offer good PTO, personal time off, matching 401k, and insurance. I've sent out over 30 offers to interview. 9 agreed to interviews. 3 didn't show up. 2 failed background checks. 2 didn't want to travel. And we've made offers to the other 2, but neither has responded to accept or reject. I've never had so many people just not respond or not show up. Is this the new normal? I'm at a loss and feeling really discouraged. Oh, crocodile tears. I say crocodile tears because you speak to anybody who's trying to find a job today, and they will tell you the game is you keep sending out, and you hope that someday you hear back, but you rarely hear anything. So one of our favorite words here on the focus group is schadenfreude. So this is the healthy laughter at the misery of others. So NPR goes on to say, but now that the situation is finally reversed, meaning the employers are getting treated the way they treat the people that are signing up or wanting to be interviewed for a job, Now the situation is reversed. Oh, the Schadenfreude. Here's a smattering of what workers have written to me, to this a career consultant who spoke on the record for NPR about this problem said, 1. If it's unprofessional and rude to ghost someone in business communications, then why have employers been doing just this for years? It seems perfectly rational to conclude that since they have been ghosting applicants for years, therefore ghosting is normal and acceptable in business. And here's another one. Given how many jobs I took the time and resources to apply to, research and show up for an interview, who then never bothered to thank me for my time or let me know they filled the position, I can't even summon up a little bit of empathy for this one. So, remains to be seen how this gets sorted out, but apparently this is a big, big thing now where people are just, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. Or even if they get hired, like there's a medical group that they profiled in the NPR piece. They hired a couple of technicians. They just never showed up. And when they did finally track them down, the one guy goes, we got a better job offer somewhere else, and they were much nicer.
Wow. I haven't heard that, but I did see a TikTok video. Have you seen the one where the guy, it's a Zoom conference, and the HR woman did handle it well, but the guy pops up on the video in the Zoom conference, and she says, hello, Ralph, or whatever his name is. And he says, my name's Susan. And he's got a full beard and like glitter eye makeup on. And she said, oh, okay, Susan. And so then she starts in, and then he just starts being he was actually being somewhat disrespectful in terms of no matter what she said, she was saying it wrong and doing it wrong. And she's like, listen, do you want to have an interview or not? And she's finally going back and forth with him. But this sounds like a similar thing that he was kind of given a dose back. But people on TikTok were upset because they said there's a lot of people looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And this is you're taking up somebody's valuable time. But I don't know. You're right, though. People don't seem to be getting responses back when they apply for jobs.
Nope. I spoke to someone the other day who was on their 64th resume and cover letter and only heard back from 4 employers. And those 4 were courteous enough to actually say, we've processed it. It's not quite a match. Thank you. We wish you the best of luck. I mean, that was the optimal outcome. I think that, isn't that, I don't know. It's just, I laughed at this because, as I said, anybody who's been doing this, who's listening right now, they're going to be like, oh yeah, they deserve to not be. So it caught your eye.
Mine's a little bit different. This popped up at a couple places, and then when I read the stories, I found out why. So there was a smattering of actually 3 filed lawsuits in the last month. This was in October. The headline is Woman Sues Kellogg's Over Lack of Actual Strawberries and Pop Tarts. So there's a law firm, Sheehan and Associates, which filed a lawsuit for a woman in Dutchess County, up near where you are sometimes, Mr. Nash.
Yep.
And they filed a class action lawsuit in the Southern District of New York in mid-October that alleged that the maker of Pop Tarts, Kellogg's, has deceived customers into thinking that there's far more strawberries in the Strawberry Pop Tarts than are actually present. So in this particular case, this was for the product called whole grain frosted strawberry toaster pastries. And they said it's false and deceiving and misleading, and people are thinking they're actually getting strawberries, and they're not. They're finding out that what this is mostly made up of is pears and apples. And they're using red dye number 40 to make it look like it is actual strawberries and some sort of flavoring. And why not just call them pear and apple Pop-Tarts instead of strawberry Pop-Tarts? Because you're getting less than 2% strawberry in the Pop-Tarts. So the second lawsuit was filed by a woman in Illinois for the same reason, but she just did frosted Pop-Tarts by the same law firm. And so her lawsuit said the same thing, that she was deceived and she's upset. They're both looking for $5 million.
$5 million from Pop-Tarts. Okay.
Yeah, because they were looking for, she was looking for the health benefit of strawberries, and she wanted to make
looking for Pop-Tarts to give her a health. All right, okay.
Yeah. She said that Kellogg's advertising was designed to give the consumer an impression that the fruit filling would contain a greater absolute amount of strawberries than it actually does. And again, talked about how they even had a strawberry shortcake recipe on the back of the box, and the fact that it only contains 2% strawberries. How dare you try to present this false and misleading and deceptive advertising? Why not just call it pears and apples? ... So what they found out is this law firm, Spencer and Sheehan, it's a New York law firm. And they apparently do this for a living. So they have actually do lots of these. They do lots of these class action lawsuits, and they just recently represented clients in similar lawsuits involving King's Hawaiian Rolls and Kraft's Bagel Bites. So they go out and find people that will that they can represent and will file lawsuits. In this particular case, 3 different states for the Kellogg's Pop Tarts, and they file the lawsuits with these major food companies, and hopefully something sticks, and they get some cash. So I think it's kind of disgusting.
It's kind of like
I do agree, though. If it is pear and apple, why not call them pear and apple Pop Tarts if they're not strawberries? I would have thought they put strawberry in them, didn't you?
Yeah, ditto. And this is kind of like a patent troll. So there are people and law firms that look over patents and try to sue companies that may be infringing on the patent or using it or something, and it just costs everybody a lot of money, right? So this is one of those things where Kellogg has to have a staff of lawyers to fend this kind of thing off, right?
Right. Yeah, and apparently happens quite often. And so I saw the point of I didn't see the point of this law firm doing it, but I do see the point of somebody saying if you're not really putting strawberries in there, if it's less
Don't
than
say
2%
it's real strawberries, yeah.
And the strawberry Pop Tarts, but I'm guessing a lot of food is like that.
I'm guessing a lot is, and couldn't she have found like some organic brand, not called Pop Tarts, but like strawberry pastry puffs or something like that,
Guess you have to read the label, people.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that was it. So as many of you know, our friends at Deep Discount have been with us since quite a while here on the Focus Group. And right now they have a site-wide sale going on. So if you head over to focusgroupradio.com and click on the Deep Discount logo, you can start shopping away. And you could really get lost in there because there's thousands and actually probably hundreds of thousands of items you could find there in many, many categories. And as we said, there's a site-wide sale going now. It's a good time to catch up and replenish your library that people have borrowed and not returned, or get some of your greatest things, or buy things for gifts. I have lots of things that haven't been returned, and I probably have things I haven't returned.
That's your primary complaint and gripe. Now, I've kept it on the homepage. See that? I don't know if you're looking at your screen, but ABBA Voyage is coming out soon. That's the new album, I also read a review I wanted to talk to you about offline about the album, but so as Tim said, it is a site-wide sale. And I always venture far and wide, but I hit on something pretty quickly that I had meant to see, or at least try to see, if not in a theater when it came out. I think this is probably one of the only ways to see it. And the movie is called The Green Knight, and it stars Dev Patel. It got amazingly good reviews, especially and one of my guideposts is the New York Times when it came out. And I'll read you just 2 little quick things. The one review said, first and most importantly, don't watch The Green Knight if you want to switch off your brain and have mindless entertainment. Do watch it if you like the dreamlike visuals of Excalibur or The Fountain. So what's good? The casting for a start. Dev Patel. Now, Dev Patel was the star of Slumdog Millionaire, a movie that came out many years ago. Well, not too many, and won a lot of awards. Continues his good streak with subtle emotional acting, and then they go through the rest of it. But this is apparently one of those films that's a must-see, and so it's at deep discount, 4K and Ultra HD, $30.81. I'm certainly going to order it because I would really like to see it. And every review I read was there's of course a patch of bad ones, but then everything was pretty much a good review. So that's what I chose. What did you choose, sir?
I picked something because I liked the title of it, and then when I read into it, I just kind of laughed. And I haven't seen any of these, but Silver Screen Icons, Esther Williams, Volume 1. So there's actually 1, 2, 3. So there's 4 movies included in this set of Blu-ray or DVD, and you can get it for under $20. And actually $11.59 for the DVD, and I believe the Blu-ray is about the same price. I think John probably has it up on the screen. But it's so Esther Williams. She has Red Skelton with her in some of these, and then the first one called Bathing Beauty came out in 1944. It says she makes a big splash in her first starring role. She plays Carolyn Brooks, a teacher whose women's college ex-fiance, Wacky Red Skelton, enrolls in the school to be near her, and features an astonishing Flames and Fountain aquatic finale. So, of course, I had to go look at that, which was hilarious.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Then the second one is a paradise for musical comedy fans called On an Island with You, and has her just wearing sarongs and swimsuits the whole time. Then there's Neptune's Daughter, which the polo team's in town means fun for Williams. And Ricardo Montalban, Red Skelton, and Betty Garrett with Frank Loesser songs. And one of the greatest finales they said ever, Splash Happy finale. It was an Oscar winner. And then there's a Tom and Jerry feature at the end called Dangerous When Wet, where Williams is going to try to swim the English Channel but falls in love with a Frenchman, Fernando Lamas, along the way. So, how can you not get this? It's Silver Screen Icons, Esther Williams. I just thought they don't make things like this anymore.
No,
1940 to 1948.
So as you said, A, you have to, how can you not get this? I was going to add B. The studio built, a whole set of pools and everything around Esther Williams. She was like the moneymaker for the studios. And when you watch some of the, I'm so glad you watched that finale with the, it's just, high dives from platforms hundreds of feet in the air. I mean, it's synchronized swimming, and all the women are smiling, and they all got that gel in their hair. It just is really something, isn't it? It's just amazing. That's a good pick. And you get 4 in there. It's not like me, we get one movie. You get 4 in there, so that's a good one. And the new release this week is a movie called Respect. And this is about the life of Aretha Franklin. And the interesting thing about this was that Jennifer Hudson, who stars in the movie, was Aretha Franklin's hand-picked choice for this biopic portrayal. And she justified the faith of a knockout effort as the Queen of Soul. This compelling film focuses on Aretha's life from the early 60s to the early 70s as she found her footing as a recording artist despite the successive heavy hands of her legendary minister father, Forrest Whitaker, then first husband manager Ted White. So have you heard about Respect? I mean, it was because of the last year, things have come out and sometimes they don't get the press they deserve. So I'd like to see this as well.
I do want to see it because I love Aretha Franklin, and the last few things that I've seen, I've been disappointed with. And I was hoping that somebody did something that really celebrated her and that we could enjoy. And I hope this is it. So I look forward to seeing it. Yeah.
All right. So recap, it's a site-wide sale. And I picked a movie called The Green Knight. Tim went with a wonderful look back to the silver screen of the days gone by with Esther Williams Volume 1. The new release is Respect. And we want you to go to focusgroupradio.com, click on the deep discount logo, and start your shopping extravaganza. We're going to take a super quick break and come back with Business Birthday and Shop Talk.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Now back to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Available pretty much everywhere.
Hey, welcome back to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here with John Nash. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to head over to focusgroupradio.com to find all of our media housed there, including our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned. And while you're over there, be sure to like us, rate us, laugh at us, hit us, whatever you have to do to people doing the click and move and all that other stuff.
You know what I forgot to do before we went to break? Since people are still listening, I'll just say it now. If you order from Deep Discount and you get your order, take a picture of what you ordered with maybe the packing slip. Send that picture to letters@focusgroupradio.com along with your mailing address, and we'll send you a pair of our famous Focus Group Radio socks. Ta-da!
In purple.
So there you go.
In honor of Pride Out West. Hey, before we do the business birthday, I had something I'd seen in the news, and I've kind of been fascinated by it because I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. I don't know if you saw. So in automotive news, so Rivian is an electric truck company that's supposed to come. It's a pickup company. It was backed by Ford and I believe Amazon for a while. I don't know if they're still.
Amazon is heavily
loose relationship.
Yeah.
But the head of sales and marketing is a woman named Laura Schwab, and she had come from Aston Martin, where she was president of Aston Martin for a while. Prior to that, she had sales and marketing roles at Jaguar and Land Rover. She's from Kentucky. But she was one of the only women, senior women at Rivian. and I believe they're either in Michigan or Illinois is where the plant is. And so she was fired a couple weeks ago. Said her position was eliminated, but she filed a lawsuit last week. It's been all over the business trades, and she's claiming gender discrimination and that she was part of the toxic bro culture. And she said all these kind of white guys that the head of the company surrounded himself with, even though she had probably the most automotive experience of anybody there, that when she would bring up issues about pricing or production or manufacturing or some of the marketing that had to take place, she was often ignored or not included in the meetings. And then somebody at a different level or lower level or later on would mention the same thing and they'd be like, oh yeah, what a great idea, what a great thing. And so as she sees all this going on, she eventually goes to human resources and brings it up. And 2 days later ends up, they told her her position is eliminated. And she said, what company have you ever heard that eliminates the vice president of sales and marketing and doesn't backfill it, quote unquote? So she's filing this pretty substantial, of course, discrimination lawsuit. And so I've been reading about it in automotive news, and I'm just, she's a middle-aged white woman, but I'm thinking, man, I don't know if this is going to expose a lot. I've been wondering when this was going to hit the auto industry. Now, Rivian is just a small, it's not one of the big autos. You and I have talked about this before, about the bro culture overall in automotive. I'm surprised it happened at this smaller company and it hasn't happened at a larger company, but I was kind of shocked about this.
We've talked about this kind of thing before, and I would pose two questions. They may be for you or they may be rhetorical. We know that employment cases brought against an employer for questionable firing, etc., are really huge uphill battles. They're often expensive because you're going against the company and the legal department, and they're going to try every trick in the book. But the flip side is that in the discovery process, if she does pursue this, depending on how private or how this goes, you are right. There could be a lot of stuff that comes out that's probably typical or endemic to other car manufacturers.
Yeah, and what somebody said in one of the comments was essentially, I hope she either doesn't plan to work again within the auto sector, or she's just really tired of what she was doing and she just wants to be done. So she's going to blow the roof off the place, because the outcome will be the same. Because we often heard of, people you find out that do these sort of cases, as you said, they will drag on and on and on, and they're hard to sometimes. Not necessarily hard to prove, but there's just
the process destroys you. Yeah. The process. So you might
it destroys everybody, right?
Yeah, you might have a great case, and guess who wins all the time? The lawyers.
Right.
On the heels of this story, which is less about Rivian and more about her untimely here's the door crazy, and by the way, her comments spot on. Who fires the vice president, or says the position is not needed anymore, of sales and marketing? I just read an article this morning in one of the trades about China. I forget which company is, but they're getting ready to go full bore on a bunch of electric pickup trucks over there. So electric. And then right after that, I read another article that basically says we have to create, or they have to mine 20 billion pounds, I think, of lithium to literally power everything, these lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
This is going to be an interesting couple of years, that's for sure.
And Afghanistan was, I think it was Afghanistan was one of the bigger places.
Rare earth metals, rare earth.
But they've also found it now in Canada.
Ah.
Our friends to the north.
Have we patched up things with Canada?
Well, we did. Obama and Pierre Jr. were good buddies. Justin.
And when did Biden make his first visit to Canada, or did they meet at a conference? But I know that we used to be the very first thing a U.S. president would do would be to go to Canada, or at least do that kind of phone call, right? Wasn't that
until Trump?
Yeah, that was the.
He went to Saudi Arabia.
We got photographed with a sword and a bunch of other things. Yeah, it was
held hand and danced and got pearls and
photo op there. Yeah,
and a sheep and a diamond.
Cheap and a diamond.
Tell me what's up.
If we do this show at 9 a.m, it's a different show. At 4, I think maybe we should be thinking in the afternoon because you get spun up, and I do like what comes out. By the way, okay.
Mm-hmm. So, business birthday today.
Okay.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So I'm looking at the business birthday. I apologize if you've listened from the beginning of the show, and God bless you if you have. I said it was November 9th. It's November 10th, Wednesday. Jeremy Stoppelman, Stoppelman. Did I say that right? Stoppelman. Is that how you would say it, Mr. Nash?
That would be my pronunciation as well. Yeah, Stoppelman.
Yeah, November 10th, 1977. Happy 44th. He's an American business executive. He's the CEO of YELP, which he co-founded in 2004. Another thing John and I really had in our minds, we just never went through with it.
We did not have an online review site in our minds.
Yes, we did.
Did we? Okay.
Here's why. Wait till I tell you what happened.
Okay.
So he was born in Arlington, Virginia, in 1977. I don't know why. I'm going to say something here. All of these, where I sometimes gather some of this information, they feel it necessary to tell you when somebody's Jewish. Now, if somebody's something else, they don't say it, but they always say somebody's Jewish, and I usually laugh because they'll say, and then he had a bar mitzvah,
How weird! So if they follow that through with everybody, it would be like if he was Catholic, then he had a confirmation. I mean,
then he had a confirmation, or Tim Bennett, he was Protestant. He had a bowling party. He turned 5, went for pizza.
Flintstones bowling party, I hope.
Right. Yeah. So I always laugh at this, but anyway, he was born in Virginia. His mother was an English teacher. His father was a securities lawyer, and is Jewish. It says that. So maybe it's a Jewish site. I should probably check. Maybe that's the deal. So anyway, he attended Langley High School. He had interest in computers and business. He began investing in stocks when he was 14 years old. He wanted to be a video game developer. So he took a lot of software and computer programming classes. And he ended up attending the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. He got his bachelor's degree in computer engineering in 1999. I never knew what you could get it with a computer engineering degree.
You mean like what kind of job you're open for, or what's the background of it?
Well, because they change so quickly, right?
Yes, agreed. Coding languages change; they're updated. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah.
I majored in Lotus. So
word perfect. Yeah.
So after he graduated, he took a job at the At Home Network.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there for 4 months, and then he accepted a position as an engineer at X.com, which later became something famous. Do you know what X.com used to be?
No.
Or what X.com became, still in existence today. You may even use it when you buy things.
Really?
PayPal.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
I think I'd have kept X.com.
It's not very consumer friendly. I'm surprised you would say that, but okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking for simplicity. All right, maybe you're right. PayPal's easier. Okay. So he met Max Levchin there. Maybe I'm saying that one wrong, but who later became an investor in his company, YELP. So Stoppelman became VP of engineering at PayPal, and he was one of PayPal's early employees, which they referred to as the PayPal Mafia. So he had left PayPal in 2003 because he got into the Cambridge City School of Business, or as we refer to it, the Harvard Business School. He was there for 1 year, and he ended up leaving and ended up getting a flu. He had the flu, John. Here's where it comes in with you and I. So and he got the flu, and he was laying there and with his friend Russell Simmons, and they were complaining they need to find a doctor, and they couldn't find a doctor. And they said, wouldn't it be great if we could find somebody who could refer us to a doctor? That's how YELP started.
Okay. Because he was laying on the couch with the flu, and he wanted, and he thought, wouldn't it be? Yeah, often. Well, wasn't that Jay Sammet who taught us that thing of write something down every day, like a problem that you want to solve, and after a month you'll nail something that no one else has figured out, but it's a simple daily thing that you want to. Well, okay. Hey,
so he said in the summer of 2004, he had the flu. He was lying on the sofa. He had a hard time finding a recommendation to find a local doctor, so he and his PayPal colleague, Russell Simmons, began brainstorming that they should create an online community where users could share recommendations. Lo and behold, they pitched the idea to their friend Levchin over there, who gave them $1 million in initial funding. Now, if you had a friend with $1 million,
that's maybe the other component we're missing is we maybe we have the idea, but we need to have the friend with $1 million or $2, right?
Got to call Jay Salmon.
There you go.
So the market capitalization grew to $4 billion.
Wow.
Under Stoppelman's leadership, and they've hosted 138 million reviews. Steve Jobs called Jeremy in January 10 in an effort to persuade him to turn down an acquisition by Google. Steve Jobs did not want Google to get
Yelp.
Yelp. And so according to Stoppelman, the biggest challenge that Yelp has is the same problem that Google has with rankings. They said business owners have been suing reviewers that leave negative comments and reviews, and they raise allegations that Yelp tampers with reviews to favor companies that advertise, which leads to legal troubles for the company. So you've heard that. People say, if you advertise, which he says is not true, of course. He now just accepts $1 worth of salary. He owns 11% interest in the company. He's got a very hands-on management style, sits at a desk amongst his employees. And he did have, they said now, this Medium thing. Have you ever gone to medium.com?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's where this Laura we just talked about with Rivian, so I kind of brought her up. That's where she posted the thing about her leaving.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's an interesting forum for that. All right.
So in 2016, an employee from Yelp got on and sent a letter to Stoppelman saying that, and they're based in San Francisco, that she and her coworkers struggled on the wages he was paying, that they could barely afford groceries and could barely heat their little apartments in the Bay Area. She was immediately fired.
Wow. Okay.
And he said that it was not due to the letter, though. And but he did then immediately increase the wages for the low-level employees 2 months later. Stoppelman's a voracious reader, and he himself has written over 1,000 reviews. He's worth about $243 million. Happy birthday, Jeremy.
But you said the company has a market cap of, it's in the billions, right?
14 billion.
And his net worth is in the millions. Okay, well,
yeah, they said 243 million. Yeah, he's got. They said he owns about 11% share.
Yeah, most of us could be happy with $1 million. We could probably get by with 2, maybe 3. But you'd be set if you didn't live extravagantly.
Well, he's at a perfect age right now, right? So today's his 44th birthday. He's probably looks pretty good. He's a handsome man, and he's probably he's in good shape. Now it's time to enjoy it.
Yeah,
he should be done right now. Let it go. Spend the next 10 years having fun. Ride your bike, do what you're going to do, read your books, travel, because your legs are going to go out, knees are going to go. Can't see.
You're back. Speaking of you're just a perfect segue. So Friday, we were up at the house, and I had to cut the grass for the last time. All the raking was done, and I was going to do the last cut, which also kind of mulched the remaining leaves on the lawn. I'm pulling on a pair of socks, heavier socks. I did something, I don't know what I did with my left hand, but suddenly my left thumb felt like someone had just like twisted it, really bad. The pain grew worse as the day went on. So I did the lawn cutting and everything like that. And by the evening, it was throbbing and it was killing me. I'm like, what the H is going on here? Next morning, I wake up and I went to Dr. Internet. The internet has all the medical answers. Yeah. So I just put in sore thumb. And the first thing that came up was, you may have a sprain. I thought, a sprained thumb. And it was, luckily I landed on a good article. And the article was like, you have no idea how these things happen. If you twist it the wrong way, it might have been stressed, whatever. But here's the solution. You have to get a little brace for your hand or your thumb. So I went out to the store and I got a thumb brace, which is this thing like a glove thing you put on, and it just kind of keeps your thumb in a sort of it's not immobile, but you can use it, but it keeps it in a certain position. I thought this thing was a little ridiculous, and I even went for a bike ride with the thumb brace on, which might have not been the smartest thing in the world, but I did a nice ride, come back. I tell you, by the evening, when I took the brace off for a while, I could move the thumb. There was no pain, and by today, I swear by the thumb brace. So if you get a sprained thumb, welcome to the focus group.
How much did a thumb brace cost?
Like $19.
You could have taken a popsicle stick and wrapped some tape around it and done the same thing.
Perhaps at your household we could have done that. Yeah, let's go to Dr. Tim's down the block. He's
What does this thumb brace look like? Isn't it just a stick?
No, it's like a mesh, like a small mesh glove. It almost, you know what it looks like? It most resembles a billiard glove. Ever see people wear a glove when they're playing pool or billiards so they could rest the cue on that? So it almost looks like that, and basically it cinches at the wrist, and then you have to. And there's like a pre-molded thing that kind of cradles the thumb a certain way. I swear to God, it worked. I mean,
only in New York. Where did you buy it? I don't think I could find one down here at the Rehoboth Beach. You found a thumb. What is it? A thumb sprint?
A thumb brace.
Thumb brace.
Available at your local CVS.
I can barely get a birthday card.
Right next to your knee braces.
It's like the Soviet CVS down here. They kept canceling my booster shot.
Yeah, you've had some problems down there, but anyway, after the business birthday, when you were telling our business birthday guy, take it easy, relax, things are going to start breaking down. You could get a sprained thumb, right?
My goodness. Okay, shop talk. So we have a shop talk this week. When we opened up, I opened up the show. I used a business idiom. I even forget what it was now. Break a leg, I think. What did I say? I don't even know. Might have been break a leg. I have to check. But so we have a list of business idioms here and where they came from. So I thought this was kind of a fun piece because we all use a lot of these idioms and when we talk about things in business. And I thought it would be kind of fun to go through some of them to find out their origins. Some of them make sense. Some of them I certainly did not know. So there's 7 of them here.
Yeah.
We can probably go through them pretty quick. So that you want to go take the first one, Mr. Nash?
Yeah, we've all heard this, red tape. Let's cut through the red tape. Let's get rid of the red tape, whatever it may be. But people refer to excessive bureaucracy as red tape. The saying goes back to the 16th century when documents were bound in red strips of material to show they should be given immediate attention. But by the 17th century, which would be the 1600s, red tape no longer guaranteed speedy service. So in the book David Copperfield, Charles Dickens satirically wrote of England, bound hand and foot with red tape. So he kind of co-opted that, and suddenly he meant that you're all tied up in bureaucracy. So that's the evolution of red tape. According to this article, that's how they think it evolved. It's not 100% sure, but it sounds good to me.
Slows things up. Number 2, the powers that be. So whether you're talking about government, upper management, or the board of directors, it usually refers to the folks that are in charge. But they say it comes right from the Bible. In Romans, the Apostle Paul discusses who has authority on earth and says, let every soul be subject unto higher powers. For there is no power but of God. The powers that be or are ordained of God. So we always hear the powers that be, the powers that be. So it's essentially who's in charge.
The powers that be are the guy at the corner office or the owner of the store. I like that one. The next one is pink slip. If your boss hands you a pink slip, you know you're terminated. There's a legend that Henry Ford started the practice of pink slip notices with a final paycheck, but appears to be apocryphal and or urban legend made up. A Smithsonian Museum creator even made it a pet project to find the source of pink slips, but there has never been an actual pink slip, or even able to find a company that used the actual, like a pink piece of paper in an envelope. In truth, firing workers via glorified Post-it is probably too much, even for the most ruthlessly efficient bosses. So pink slip simply is a term that means you're fired, but there really never was anything to correlate it back to a pink piece of paper.
I would disagree with that. I would kind of believe Ford did that, though, because just a quick one. When I was at Subaru, we had something called a blue letter.
I remember the blue letters. I remember those.
And that came from Ford Motor Company. So whenever you had an approved budget, it was, do you have a blue letter? And it was because simply that the printing room in Ford Motor Company back in the 60s ran out of paper, and they only had blue paper. And so all of the budgets were done on blue paper, so that meant it had passed. So to this day, Subaru still does everything. If something's approved, it's on a blue letter.
Yeah.
So, number 4, passing the buck, otherwise known as playing the blame game. So if you want to do something, pass the buck. They think this came from the game of poker, because when it's your turn to deal, you pass the buck or you move the marker, which is sometimes called passing the buck. So that's where they think that came from.
Okay, I like that one. And then, of course, Harry Truman used the buck stops here, right?
Yeah.
He's the decider. Next up is whistleblower. If you see something, say something. That's the role of the whistleblower, who exposes illegal or unsafe practices within an organization. Activist Ralph Nader is the individual who popularized this phrase in the 70s as a positive alternative towards like informant or snitch. The saying is inspired by a police officer or referee blowing their whistle to alert a crowd to an infraction or a wrongdoing. I like that one. That makes sense.
And then number 6, by the book. Of course, you must do everything correctly. If you do things correctly, you do them by the book. You follow the rules and regulations exactly. So the book is an idiom, and they often say it's it may refer to the Christian Bible with its old-fashioned connotations. In modern usage, it can refer to any rule book or any set of regulations. So again, back to the holy book.
And the last one here is the elephant in the room. You know, let's all talk about the elephant in the room. Seeing pink elephants has its own connotations related to intoxication, but if you're sitting around the conference table, the elephant is serious business. So when you acknowledge an elephant in the room, you're talking about the controversial issue or topic that everyone knows about, but no one wants to mention. Many writers have discussed this phenomenon, but one of the first was Ivan Krylov in his 1814 fable, The Inquisitive Man. It's about a man who goes to a museum and remarks on all the little details he sees there, except a giant elephant. Krylovian. Krylov is a name, by the way, that pops up in the movie Being There with Peter Sellers, and so I have to pursue this one. But yeah, so basically it goes all the way back to that 1840 fable of he talked about everything except the biggest thing in the room, which was the elephant. So there you go.
The elephant. Elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, which I suppose we're all guilty of using all of these idioms at some point, right? I mean, in fact, idioms and acronyms abound in business. The acronyms are the ones that really get me. I don't mind idioms. My friend Chris from France, one time I was talking to him and I said, well, you know what 6 of one, half dozen another? He goes, what is this 6 of one, half dozen? That's the same thing. I'm like, oh, he goes, it's one of your American idioms. And he just kind of chuckled. All right, folks, we want to wrap it up for today. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Focus Group. FocusGroupRadio.com is where you'll find out all about us. And we have a special going with deep discount. They have a site-wide sale. But if you purchase anything between now and the end of the year, take a picture of it with a packing slip and send it to us at letters@focusgroupradio.com, and you'll get yourself a pair of the famous Focus Group Radio socks. As Tim said, they're in purple. I guess they're in honor of Western pride. So have a great week. Stay safe, and we will see you in the new one.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.